Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sneha and today I'm going to create a 3 looks 1 palette video using the Viseart Dark Mattes palette. So if you'd like to see how to create this and 2 other looks, please continue watching. Now before we start with the looks, I just wanted to show you this palette, which I think is so appropriate for this time of the year, fall, as you can see from the colors in the palette. It's mostly a cool tone palette, I would say, except for this quad right here, which is quite warm toned. Now all the shades from this palette have the beautiful matte finish that the typical Viseart matte eyeshadow has, except for this particular shade. It just has a very granular feel to touch, especially when you try swatching that shade, and it also swatches quite weakly compared to the other shades from the palette. But that's not to say it does not perform on the eyes. It performs equally well on the eyes as all the other shades. Now I already have swatches with this palette, so I'm not going to re-swatch them. I'm just going to insert the video right here. It's an older video and I've compared the swatches with the editorial palette, but you should still be able to see the colors. For some reason, amongst all the Viseart palettes out there, this particular one does not seem to get enough attention. I have no idea why. So if you have this palette, I hope these tutorials help you in bringing these out and trying some new looks with them. For all 3 looks, I'm starting with primed eyelids, and the primer I've used is the NARS Eye Primer, and this is the clear one. Now for this look, I'm starting with the warm tone purple in the palette, and I'm going to apply that to my crease, blending it towards my brow bone. And then I'm going to pack it with a flat shader brush to the innermost part of my eyelid. Now what you'll notice is when I'm using the next shade, which is the cool tone purple, there isn't much difference between these 2 shades. I just wanted to show you that, but ideally you could just use this darker purple all over your eyelid. Now these 2 shades may probably look different if you have a fairer skin tone, but on my skin tone or skin tones deeper, I think these 2 shades can be used interchangeably. Then I'm just adding the same shade into the crease of my eye with a smaller blending brush. And then again, just blending all the edges out. Then I'm applying the first shade we used along my lower lash line, first with this blending brush, and then I forgot that on the other eye I had used a flat shader brush, so I'm just repeating that. And then blending out the edges with the blending brush. And then deepening up the outer half of the lower lash line with this cool toned purple. And then using this blue shade from this palette and packing it on the outer V of the eye. I'm also going to take it just on the outer corner of the lower lash line. And this is the shade that's really adding depth to this look. So just taking my blending brush and diffusing all the edges. And then reapplying some of the blue, which may have been lost during the blending process. And also applying some of this blue to the crease area, just so that it ties in better. And then blending it with the purple shades we already have in the crease. Next, to diffuse out the edges near the dark blue shade, I'm going back into the first shade we'd used and just on a small blending brush, applying it to the edges on that outer corner. And then this is a tip: if you'd like to get nice diffused eyeshadow looks, you can always use your face powder along the edges of the eyeshadow look to create like a very smooth transition. Next, I'm applying this purple eye pencil to my bottom and top waterline. And then finishing up with mascara on my bottom and top lashes. And this is look number 1. By the way, if you're enjoying these looks, please don't forget to hit that like button. Moving on to the next look, I'm going to start with this medium tone brown from this palette and applying it to the crease of my eye. Next, using this khaki green from the palette, but this shade, as you'll see, doesn't pop as much on my skin tone because it's very close in terms of depth to my skin tone. So if you're someone fairer, I'm sure this shade will look lovely on you, but just because it wasn't popping, I went back in with this yellow-orange shade and layered a little bit of that in the inner corner. Then using this deeper green from the palette and applying it all the way from the middle of the eye towards the outer corner. And on the outside, we are going to use this darker blue from this palette and just packing that on the outer V. blending it with the green, and then also applying it to the outer corner of the lower lash line. Next, going back in with that darker green shade, applying it next to the blue shade, and then going into the olive green shade and applying that towards the inside of the eye. And then lastly, as my inner corner highlight, I'm using this yellow shade. Then I went back into this dark blue shade and using a blending brush, applied some of it to the crease of my eye. And then to blend out the edges, I went back in with that brown shade we'd used initially and just running that along the edges of the eyeshadow. And then to finish up this look, I lined my eyes with this green eyeliner and then applied mascara to my top and bottom lashes. And this is look number 2 complete. For this warm tone look, I'm going to run this bright orange shade through the crease of my eye and then blending whatever's remaining towards the brow bone. I'm taking it all the way from the outer crease to the inner crease. And then to blend out the edges towards the brow bone, I'm going in with the yellow-orange shade from this palette, just running it along the edges of where we had laid down the orange shade. Then I'm going in with this orange-yellow shade also on my eyelid with a packing brush. So any type of flat packing brush will work for this. And I'm going to apply it all over my eyelid, 3/4 of the way in. Next, I'm going to this really deep reddish brown. And I'm going to use this on the outer corner of my eye and also to deepen up my crease. Now to deepen up the outer V of the eye, I'm going into this purple red kind of a tone. And I'm going to use that again with the same brush that we'd used just on the outermost corner of the eye and slightly into the crease as well. Moving on to the bottom lash line, I'm first taking that orange shade and just applying it liberally on the lower lash line. At the same time blending it out. Next I'm going in with that reddish brown shade and applying it halfway along the bottom lash line. And then I'm going to use that purple reddish shade and apply it to the outer corner of the lower lash line. Lastly, to add some definition along my top lash line, I'm going in with this dark brown shade from the palette and just stamping it close to the lash line to mimic a very soft eyeliner. And then I'm finishing up this look with some brown eyeliner on my top and bottom waterline, and then mascara on my top and bottom eyelashes. For the top lashes, I've used the NARS Climax mascara, and for the bottom lashes, as always, I've used the MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara. And that's it. That is look number 3. And because this is an all matte palette, just know that all the looks have just matte eyeshadows. One can obviously combine these eyeshadows with shimmery shades and take it to a whole different level. So I really hope you enjoyed watching these tutorials, and if you did, please don't forget to hit that like button. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!